shoot them in
Yeah.
advance. But
Yep. You mentioned you don't have electricity.
what? Oh yeah, no, I have to like rewire stuff. Like I'm like an amateur electrician these days. That's why.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's not like you haven't paid, right?
it's nothing like that. It's just old old stuff. Old stuff needs
I see.
fixing. It's a lot of repairs.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, is it okay right now?
Oh yeah, it'll be fine. It's fine. I'm pretty. I'm pretty. I know how to rough it, dude. Right? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I always lived in different environments. I guess it's like that's why I'm not like super like weird when I go to other places and there's not like electricity or hot water or something like that. Yeah,
We
I've
used to
done a
have
lot
a
of
lot of
camping.
we used to, to have a lot of blackouts in the province. Um,
Yeah.
I told you that our community is like in the far flung, right along the sea. So most of the time, it will be like every other week there will be a brownout. So you know, I'm so used to that. Also, a lot
Yeah,
of
that's what I'm saying,
mosquitoes.
man.
Also,
That's what I mean. Like you get used to it. Like you can't like if it's gonna be like if it's dangerous, you gotta fix it. You know what I mean? So it's like so you don't get electricity for a little bit. So what? Like, and it's not like you can always fix things
yeah.
quickly because things cost money. You sometimes costs get higher than what you expect them to be. So it's like that's
And
just how it
sometimes
is.
actually in the province, blackouts would happen for days. So,
Oh yeah,
uh, but it's fun actually, especially during at night. Some people would go out there like there's some like there are like waiting shades outside along the streets, and people would just like, hang out there, talk maybe. Especially when it's full moon, it's fun actually. Those are good
yeah,
memories for
exactly.
me at least.
When you don't have electricity and stuff too, you do things that don't like require it. So you like rereading or
Yeah,
whatever. You be doing things that like you don't normally think of. We're very like encompassed in this modern world stuff. You know what I mean? So people be
yeah,
on the internet scrolling, but you do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. Hey, how's it going?
that's me.
Oh, it's you? Oh, it does say Ted DiCiadro.
Anyway, just
DiCiadro.
say hi to some other people there. We have some viewers already, I think.
Heck yeah. Yeah, so, was it like did they happen more when there was, like, typhoons and stuff there, or
Yeah,
yeah, see, that
some
that would make sense a lot.
um, we would use oil lamps actually to light up the house. It's kind of
With the ones with the
scary,
wicks
also.
and stuff?
Yeah, and sometimes they have this belief actually that no, it's not. Hi guys,
Hello? Grindr, dude, that's
and
like a whole
sometimes
thing, dude.
also,
Those guys killing it, making that app.
especially when it's like really stormy and there are lots of thunder, I think, and lightning. My mother would like um, put some vinegar on our forehead so that we won't be hit by lightning.
Oh, yeah?
What they believe. Yeah,
You're also not supposed to wear red, right?
yeah. They mentioned us.
Yeah, I
Hi
heard that while
guys,
I was there. Someone I
and
wore a red shirt outside, and it was, like, storming out, and they're like, "You're
you're
gonna get hit by lightning." I thought that was hilarious.
and, and sometimes also when it rains a lot, like for days, um, they will find it the reason why you're having a flu because it's raining. So when you get wet by the rain, they will expect that you're going to have a flu
Mm,
after how many days because you were like you got wet.
hey, man. It's like weird that sometimes like superstition stuff is actually based in like reality. You know what I mean? It's like it's obviously superstition, right? But then
Mm,
there's like the scientific explanation for why the superstition's kind of right. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
I
It's like, in the
growing up
Bible they talk
actually.
about what?
Yeah,
Go ahead, sorry.
yeah. Go.
Oh, it's just like in the Bible they talk about not eating like shellfish and stuff like that. But I think a
Yeah,
big reason why they say not to is because, if you eat 2-day-old shellfish, you're gonna get sick. You know what I mean, right? You know what I mean? Does that make sense, kind
yeah.
of?
Not
Yeah,
actually. Yeah, it makes sense. And also, I was actually just this day. I was like looking at watching a video about why why it's not allowed actually to um it's forbidden actually to eat shellfish and pork, right? Or I mean, pig products in the Old Testament,
yeah,
right? One of the reasons actually because like they're in the bottom of the food chain, which means
yeah,
that they just eat everything. So
yeah,
most of the animals that are allowed to be eaten are actually herbivores. So which humans can't digest leaves, right? So
yeah.
these animals
Most
or
of it.
herbivores have like I think three stomachs, I think, to digest all the grasses.
Yeah,
So
it depends the animal. I think cows have like 6 or something like that. But yeah, how's it going, guys? Oh, New Crusade. Oh my God, dude, that's I don't know. Go for it. I don't know what you're crusading for, but crusades are usually usually bad.
yeah,
Oh my God.
it it has some killing there.
Yeah, exactly. God damn it. I think about like the during the Dark Ages and stuff sometimes. I don't know a bunch about it, but I know that it was crazy time to be alive, probably. But,
Isn't most crusades didn't most crusades fail?
yeah, I think so, actually. Yeah, that's another thing about crusades. They didn't really work out the
I
best
think
for the guys
there
doing
were
them.
just like two crusades in which they won, and most of the other crusades they were defeated.
Yeah, it'll be like they'll win individual battles, and then like the
Yeah.
actual thing they're trying to win, like the war or whatever, total flop. Yeah,
I feel
think a
so
lot of it.
down actually reading about those histories of crusades when I was in high school because I mean at the end of the day you don't want to be in the losing team kind of so it doesn't do good actually to Roman Catholics.
Yeah, no, it really hurt their image bad. I think
Yeah,
honestly, uh, I don't want to be like that's like what was the downfall of like their church and stuff, but like it did not help their case at all. You know what I mean? I think that that's a big reason why, like the Enlightenment era, like the Renaissance and all that stuff
yeah.
happened mostly probably because of all that stuff before. But that's just a guess. It's like a long
So
period of
going
time between that, but
so going back, yeah, most of the um allowed actually meat to eat are those herbivores. It makes sense actually.
kinda, yeah,
But the thing
kinda.
is that the reason why they said the reason why Roman Catholics are already eating pork meat is because we have been saved already by Jesus Christ when he was like crucified on the cross. So that's why it's
Oh,
already okay to eat pork products.
see, I didn't know it was okay to eat pork products. I didn't know. I mean, most people do. Most people do. But I didn't know it was okay, I guess. See, certain religions like Christian whatever, pseudo-Christian, whatever, Judeo-Christian religion still don't eat pork, so it's like kinda like
Yeah,
I don't really know. Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea. And what is it, 'cause Muslims can't eat pork still, right?
no, they are not. Yeah, because it's kind of related to the Old Testament thing, actually,
Yeah.
that you're not allowed to eat pork somehow.
Yeah, I remember in, like, a piece of, Muslim scripture, I think about it a lot, is like, it says something like, what is it, it's not like,
Right.
"Do not do violence to your Christian brother," but it's like there's, like, a word that I'm missing here, but it's something to your Christian brother because he's, most similar to you in faith. It's, like, weird. Yeah, like, whole Quran it's so weird to me that, like, Christians and, like, Muslims have, like, the animosity in modern times because, like, it's literally in both of their scriptures that, like, they're
Is
supposed to
that
get
the golden
along.
rule? Is that the golden rule?
The golden rule? I don't know if it's that, but
Do
yeah.
unto others what you don't want to do others do unto you. Kinda. Is that the
Oh,
one?
I think that one's more the Christian version, yeah, but yeah.
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 There, most of the teachings actually have a similar kind of belief. I think during high school we have read about that, that even other religions is the same kind of thing.
Yeah. That's the thing, I like comparative religion a lot, like, just I'll look up stuff about different religions sometimes just because I'm like, how are these religions, like, similar, not so much how are they different, you know? I trying to find the similarities and stuff
Yeah.
to, like it's like it creates common ground between people and everything else like that, so that's kinda why I do it, I guess. I think it's
At the
interesting.
end of the day, actually, if you've been so bad to your neighbors, you will end up somewhere bad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that's like another like a bunch of stuff in the Christian Bible too. That's what the big part of it. They're like talking about how you got to be nice to your goddamn neighbor and stuff.
Yeah.
And what is it? There's something about like
Love your
foreigners
neighbor.
and like how you're supposed to treat foreigners as your neighbor or something like that when they're in your land or some shit. I can't remember.
The main, I think the main teaching of Jesus actually is just to love God above all things and love your neighbor as you love yourself. I think that
Yeah,
was
exactly.
he kinda turned the Ten Commandments into just two things actually when he
Yeah,
went here.
yeah. It's weird to me, like because like a lot of people were super religious for a while, but it's like now there are like religious people. But none of
Mm,
them really do any of the things that I see as, like, what is religious, you know what I mean? Like, the
yeah.
religious behavior doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, there are a lot of people going to church who are hypocrites, you know.
Exactly, too many hypocrites for me. Too many religious hypocrites for me, it bugs me. That's why I
That's the
try to,
reason why
like
I don't really. That's
yeah.
the reason why I stopped going to church.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying, like, I don't, like, do the whole church thing just because of the hypocrites. Makes it make goddamn impossible for me to, like, sit there and just feed into that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
The one thing also I hate, that's why I'm atheist right now. It's because most religions tend to like compare their religions to others when you just need actually to respect what they believe in. Sometimes there are religions actually who would like tell that they are the only one who are going to be saved and also judge other people, which is the exact um like
opposite of what you're supposed to
the
do?
opposite of what Jesus actually taught
Yeah.
us, kinda.
Like, if you're the only one gonna be saved, you should be happy, right? Like, "Okay,
Yeah,
you're the guy that's getting saved, dude, d don't why do you need to rub it in someone's face and be an asshole?"
yeah.
Yeah,
We
like, come
we
on,
have
dude.
like a local religion here that was like started by a Filipino, and they are so exclusive actually. It's hard to like be a part of their religion. You need to go to church for like 6 months. Sometimes when you're absent during the service, some people from the church would like visit you to find out
Oh,
why you
really?
haven't gone to church, things like that.
Is that,
They
like
they
I
are
think you told me about that place, actually. I'm
yeah.
not sure.
I don't wanna talk about the name. I don't wanna speak the name of the
Yeah, no, we
religion.
won't we'll leave it out of this because, like, no, we don't need a bunch of people being mad, right?
Yeah, and
God.
also they have this. Their 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 religion is kind of pivotal actually during elections because they have block voting. So when their leader would like ask them to vote for this specific candidate, most of the time these candidates would win actually, especially during national elections, which is
Oh,
so against the idea of like the separation of state and and church.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that stuff either. It's weird because America is, like, founded on those principles a little bit, but for some
Mm,
reason, we've still got, like, "In God We Trust" and all this other stuff, like, on our money and everything else, and, like, I get it, but it's like
mm,
it kinda, like it feels a little hypocritical to say that like, on stuff and then, like, have, like, the whole, like, idea of freedom of religion and stuff like that, and I guess we do, but it's just like you know what I mean? It feels like there's some
mm.
favoritism going on, maybe. Maybe some favoritism sometimes.
Are there more
Does that make sense?
Baptists there in the US, or are there Catholics also there? How about
We got
at
a
least in your
good
area?
mix. We got a very good mix. Baptists are pretty common. Then you got, like,
In the South,
Lutherans and
maybe?
Protestants, and, there's Catholics too. I think that, like, Baptists and Catholics make up a good percentage in general of, religion out here, and then
Mm,
Protestants also.
and Mormon,
Yeah,
maybe in Colorado,
Episcopal.
maybe in Utah,
No, we got a good amount of Mormons too in my area.
and Jews, right?
Jews are some there's, like, some Jews out here, but it's, like, rare in this area, I guess. In my state, there's a significant amount, I think,
Mm,
it's just, like, in my area. There's a significant amount of Muslims, though, too, in my state, actually. So,
mm.
they're usually localized to, like, city center areas and stuff like that, but yeah, there are it's weird, actually, that's the thing about, like I was saying, like, we do have, like, a pretty, I don't know how to say it, like, liberal, stance on religion, like, which you're supposed to, which I appreciate, but, yeah, it is like, you do get localized areas where they're, like, a specific religion, and they're pretty staunch believers in their hypocrisy a lot of the time. Yeah.
I'm just
Hello?
wondering also. Hi, since I'll just connect this to like education. When you were young, actually, maybe in the preschool or elementary, do you have some classmates who have like a different religion, and then sometimes you would walk on eggshells in them because you don't want to like do something, or maybe you have this bias also?
No, I've never walked on eggshells for anyone in my life. You kidding me, dude? No, I like to try to be, like, cognizant of people's religion, right? You know what I mean? I'm not
Mm,
gonna, like, but, also at the same time, if someone is gonna get super offended about something they actually believe, if you truly believe it, you know what I'm saying, and it's a religious thing, you should not be getting offended in the first place. Does that make
okay.
sense? Kind of,
Mm,
right? Because
yeah.
how are you gonna get your faith? rocked or shaked by me as a person if you truly believe it, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I just remember actually when do you do you remember Da Vinci Code?
God, yeah, I know it a little bit. I don't think I actually ever watched it in its
So
entirety.
anyway, the idea is that in the movie, Mary Magdalene and Jesus had a child, and this child is somehow called the Holy Grail because he carries the lineage of Christ. So, yeah, it's meant to be controversial, I think. And during that time when the movie was released, most of the like priests actually wanted the movie to get banned here because we're like 80% Catholics. But the thing is that actually when it doesn't really matter how controversial the movie is when you have like the full faith in what you believe in. It will not really like bother you at all unless you have like a questionable faith.
Yeah, that's kinda what I was getting at, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like, so that's why I don't like, I'll be cognizant of it, right? You know what I'm saying? But you should not be easily offended if you truly believe
Hmm.
something. I imagine that you, at some point, have run into problems then just because you guys are mostly Catholic and stuff at school, right? Or were you raised
Yeah,
Catholic?
yeah, I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
Actually, the generation of my parents were not really Catholics. Have you remembered that um, there were like a specific Catholics who like created a different religion because the Spanish didn't like um, accept them or kind of see them as like something
True
below.
Catholic.
Yeah,
Right.
so they kind of created a different religion called um, Aglipayan. Their mass is kind of Catholic, but at the end of the mass, they would sing the Philippine national anthem.
Oh, okay. That's cool, kind of. Um,
Everything with the mass, the things that they do is kind of Catholic, but I think their priests are allowed to get married.
okay. So there's like, it's very similar, but it's like, a little bit different. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like because of, like, the exclusion from the actual church, they had to, like, kinda offshoot it and run
yeah,
in parallel or something.
yeah.
Okay. Do they still use the Roman Catholic Bi or, like, the new, King James version of the Bible or something like that, or
Their Bible is really similar to the Catholic Church.
okay. Yeah, I was just I don't know, what is it? I think that's the Bible they use in Catholic Church,
Mm,
King James version. That's another thing about religion sometimes, it's like, all the Bibles are different. All of them are different.
yeah,
They all have different wordings and stuff. Makes it very difficult to, peg down stuff sometimes and what you're supposed to actually believe,
and
right?
I am I, I studied in Catholic schools, right? Um, we in high school actually we don't use the King James version.
No?
We use the New American Bible, kinda. We don't use it.
Okay.
We don't use the King James actually. I don't know. Well, the good thing with the New American Bible is that the explanation of some scriptures that are like so vague actually is being explained below, so it's clearer to understand compared because most of the like scriptures there or maybe like the verses there are kind of like you need to read it between the lines, and with that kind of Bible they would explain the historical like background of the verses first for you to understand because sometimes it will like the reading of the verse, I mean the verse would be like somehow different you don't understand actually the historical background of something, some things. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it helps you so just so you have a broader understanding of what the passage is trying to say and how it's trying to say it,
Yeah.
and that why exactly it might be trying to say it.
Mm.
Okay. So it sounds like you had a
Do
pretty
you,
good education.
yeah, I told you that most of the private schools during my time are kind of advanced, they said, because
Mhm.
we would do, we have like computer subjects, things like that, that are not um like affordable to most of public schools here, especially in your far-flung area where internet and electricity is not um easily got, kind of. Do
Gotcha.
you have Catholic schools there or like religious schools in the US? I'm just wondering.
Oh, yeah, you better believe it. You better believe we do, all over
Mm,
the place. We got
I see.
religious colleges and everything else even, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
see.
I wouldn't call them exclusive to the religion, but,
I see.
you know what I mean? Like, they kind of are. You could go
Like
there
the
if you weren't, but
like the Mormon churches, like
yeah.
do they have their own schools or things like that?
Yeah, like, even, like, Notre Dame is a
Mm,
Catholic college, technically,
mm.
and then you got Hillsdale, Albion, uh, yeah, there's lots of them. I can't think of them all. I wanna say Albion is. Albion might not be a religious college, but I think it is. There's so many, dude. We got so many colleges here. So, yeah, there's definitely and there is a college specifically for Mormons, I think, actually, too. But, there's probably more than
I
one.
It makes sense actually that the Mormons have like their own kind of school,
Yeah.
especially specifically the Mormons, because they kind of shun people actually. Like they they get astray, kind of.
It would be very difficult for I can see why they do too, specifically with Mormons more because, like, it would be difficult for them to, go to a regular college and then also maintain their, like, Mormon beliefs. So having, like,
Yeah,
that
that's true.
institution to help, like, ground them in the community and stuff. I think Mormons are kind of like they're not, like, super rude to their people just because of, like, one thing or another. They might, reprimand you or something. I'm not super familiar with Mormons, like, all of the different ways they behave, but, for me, like, the way I see Mormons is, like, kind of, like, not so much like that. Like, they're usually good people, and I don't think they're, like, totally terrible to you if you don't do something you're supposed to do.
Mm,
You're just gonna hear about it, and you're gonna, like, have to do, like, whatever religious thing to get back in the good graces, right? You know what I mean? I don't think they shun
yeah,
people, like, out of the community or anything like that.
but it just seems like they're so rigid with the rules actually that sometimes most people who get out from the church actually are just so strangled already with how rigid they are to the rules, kind of.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They are very strict. I do, I do know some Mormons and stuff, and, not all of them are the same. Some of them don't even have televisions and stuff.
Mm,
In fact, I think lots of them don't, but that isn't like a hard set rule that you can't, I don't think. It's just like Amish and stuff like that, like, some of them
that's true.
do things that, like, most of the church would maybe say that's not acceptable, but, like, they still do it, you know what I mean? And their specific communities will allow it. They're just, like, looked at by the rest of the community as, like, a little bit different and, like, whatever else maybe. So it's, like, weird like that, I think. Yeah, I don't know. So, you do you think public schools there are, like, kinda similar to the like, not, like, similar, but, like, comparably to your school? How would you say they are? Or were then, at least?
I pretty think actually that I was really smart when I was in Catholic school, smarter than those people from the public school, because most of the my classmates, at least who could, or anyone who could enroll to a private school before, can afford like a computer, can afford to buy books, and most of the people before who are in public schools are like poor people, and it will be hard for them actually to find things that would like increase their knowledge. If you get what I mean, they can't afford books, and most of the books that are like being used in public schools are already like very old. They have been using like the same books over and over again for like years, and I think their books are kind of outdated compared to those students who are like going to private schools who could like buy the newest versions of books actually. So yeah, the, I but right now actually most public schools are really competitive already,
Well, that's good. That's
and
good.
at least in big cities, I'm sure that there are like schools in parkland areas who are still having a hard time actually getting the kind of education that they deserve.
No, I completely understand what you're saying. I think that, like, is, the same thing here, like, even when I was growing up, there's, like, a because, education, the way it's funded is, like, weird, so, like, you if you have, like you get funded based off on, the amount of kids or whatever else like that, and then, in combination with how good the test scores are. So, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Obviously, if you're, like, got a low population and then, like, you already have limited resources because of this low population. Now it's harder to achieve the test scores that you need to achieve to get like more funding. So then you get like kind of like demoted down, and you have to use older resources. I remember growing up that was a problem. Like they put Pluto as a planet in a lot of the books and stuff like that, and it's like that was like a change while I was in school. However, However, you know what I mean, like, it was still in our books because they didn't have the money to update the books and things like that, right? You know what I mean? So, that happens a lot. I think that happens everywhere, especially in, like, smaller areas and stuff like that. That's understandable. It is unfortunate, though. I think that with, technology that it would dissipate. However, it seems to be technology has lots of its own problems as far as education goes. I think you're frozen. No, I completely agree with you. Like, there is this thing about education in general where it's mostly designed to create good workers who are able to fulfill set tasks. You know what I mean? I don't think it was ever designed to make people critical thinkers or introspective or anything like that. Um, that's why we have places like colleges and stuff that has like a high barrier to entry, so we can gatekeep most of the population below a certain level, because if everyone was just highly intelligent, they would all be trying to do their own things all the time, right? They would get these set beliefs, and like you said, be harder to control as a result. I think I completely agree with that. And it's I kind of get it. Like you also do need workers for other tasks. Obviously not everyone can be a doctor, not everyone, like anyone can be, but if everyone tries to be a doctor, obviously society doesn't function, and
yeah,
that's a problem, right? So, but I don't think educating them to a sufficient level that they have critical thinking skills is necessarily bad, right?
yeah. But the thing is that when you have a lot of people who are critical thinkers, it will be hard for you to do corruption already.
That also, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It does make, the job of political elites more difficult to have educated masses, for sure. There's been lots of attacks on, education here, and honestly, lots of places, which is odd to me. I'm sure you guys are seeing, like, you were talking about the one guy who has no education being on the board of education and stuff, so I'm
Mm.
is there more stuff like that happening there, or
It's kind of crazy right now what's happened in the Senate. So, how do you explain this? Th- um, this has happened actually for just a few weeks. So, um, at one time, the Senate president is so in the coming weeks. Actually, the trial for the impeachment of the vice president will be happening, right? So at one time, the the president the Senate president that time is like leaning to the president, right? The
Mhm.
president of the Philippines. So the president that time is kind of leaning to the president. So we have this senator who has been absent for like 6 months because he found out that he has like a warrant of arrest from the International Criminal Court. So he has been hiding. So one day he went back to the Senate actually, um, just to vote, because you need actually to have 13 members voting for someone to like replace the Senate president. So he just went there to the Senate actually to replace the Senate president like that time.
Oh, man.
So the newly like nominated Senate president is kind of a supporter of the vice president, the one who's the daughter of the Duterte, you know.
Yeah,
So
yep.
so currently this past weeks, everything in the Senate has been so crazy. They tried to so that the senator actually has been who has been absent for like months didn't know that there is really an arrest warrant from the ICC. So
Oh,
he kinda like stayed in the Senate premises for like the whole night and then tried to escape like one we are in the morning around 2 a.m. So
oh, man.
there they tried to like create a scenario where there has been shooting inside the Senate to divert the media from him escaping the premises of the Senate.
I shouldn't laugh, but, I mean, it's just kinda so ridiculous, you know what I mean?
So
I clever,
so
right?
right
It's like
now,
super clever.
so right now, a few days ago, a few days ago, the, they were those the supporters of the president, current Senate president, were called the majority, right? Because they have more they have more in numbers, kind of. So they're like the majority.
Yeah.
They're so since that so they are 13. They're the majority because they're like 24 senators, right? So since the other senator escaped already, there are only 12, so there's no like super majority already, right? Since they are already 12. So what happened is that they're trying to change the rules actually, of voting for like a specific bill, because in the Senate you need to be there actually to vote, right?
Yeah,
So they wanted actually to change the rules that you could vote via video call, kinda, because they wanted to like give way to the vote of like the other senator who's been like from the law, right?
yeah. And he
So
just hides in the caps. He needs to call in and vote. And that's what they're trying to. You'd think that
yeah,
someone like that would not be able to be in that position in the first place. I don't want to be that guy. Um, I that's the problem with the International Criminal Court. I think a little bit of the time is they just don't have like they don't really have enough wide-reaching power. And then like a lot of the time, countries can just like ignore it or not, kind of in
yeah,
ways. You know what I'm saying? Find ways to
mm,
circumnavigate it. You're
yeah.
so how long have they been in the process of trying to shift that even?
There, let me finish first. It's not
Yeah,
finished
okay,
yet.
yeah,
So currently, the majority is only 12, right?
yeah,
So they wanted to change the rule for someone in voting for some specific laws to have, because that hiding senator is not allowed, can't go to the Senate premises, because when he goes there, he'll be arrested, right? So it will be
yeah.
safer for him actually to like vote via online, and that's not allowed actually. So the current majority wanted to change the rules for senators to be allowed actually to vote via online, and it's not allowed because you can't you're being paid actually to go to the Senate, and it's unfair for the normal common people to, you will be reprimanded, you will not be paid actually if you're not like going um to work, right? And
Mhm.
they're like pointing, the reason why they wanted actually, the reason they're like throwing is that we're currently in, this is so stupid actually. The reason why they wanted, for online voting to be available is because we're currently in like, environmental, force majeure, when you're not able actually to go to work because there are like catastrophic things happening, like
Oh,
a
okay,
strong
yeah,
typhoon,
yeah,
floods, things like that. That's force majeure, where it's like beyond your power actually to like go to work. So currently we have El Nino, right? So
yeah, yep. I've heard a lot about
they're
El Nino, Super El Nino.
they're pointing that at as a reason for like the senator to not be able to go to the Senate, and that's so stupid because most of the people would still go to work even though we have like a very hot environment. They're
Yeah,
just
I was
like
gonna
trying
say,
to find things actually to give reason for someone not to be able to go to the Senate. So this past days, um because they wanted actually to change, they also wanted to like push the idea actually of online voting without without debating about it. So the minority actually walked out because of that, because they're pushing it without any debates happening. So because the minority walked out, um it's not allowed to like, uh, pass some changes in laws and things like that, because there's supposed to be like a majority for like a bill to be passed. Since the
right,
minority walked out, and since one other senator is not available because he's hiding, they can't like pass any laws. So The Senate is stagnant during the time in like doing work. So the next day, the next 3 days actually, all the majority were absent from the Senate. So the remaining people in the Senate are like the minority who are only 11.
Okay.
So there's no movement in the Senate for at least 2 days.
See, that's it, and that's just like a drain on taxpayer resources and stuff like that because people want to
Yeah, that's true. Also,
cause.
there's no movement and any laws being like done,
Mhm.
and that
Creates a deadlock.
so during those 2 days, actually, a senator was arrested was arrested because of his involvement to the flood control projects, kinda.
Oh,
So
shit.
this senator was part of the majority. So one is already hiding, and one is already arrested. So which means that the majority is already 11.
Yeah, so they're both at 11 right now. Yeah, so oh man, dude. Uh,
So
I
what
is it
happened?
so they're both from the one side. The one guy is running from the International Criminal Court, and the other one's running
Yeah,
from, like, corruption for blood control.
yeah.
Uh,
So
damn,
what
dude.
happened is that um, if the Senate hasn't been like doing something for 3 straight days, actually, there will be like a constitutional crisis. That's what they said. So on the third day, I told you the majority has been absent for like days. On the third day, wherein supposed to be if there will still be no movement at all in the Senate, there will be like a constitutional crisis, right? Someone from the majority went to the Senate actually to work, and he changed
Oh,
his stand actually. So right now the minority is already around 12, but there's no caucus still because there's you need to be like a majority of the senators, right? But the thing is that this has been this has happened for like um for one time actually for some time, that you don't have to be the super majority should doesn't need to be 13. So I think the Supreme Court um like explained that the majority should just be the majority for the senators who are like available
active?
to do his duties.
Yeah.
Yeah, active. So which means that the one who is like running from the, let's call him fugitive, the fugitive cannot be controlled already. So you will like remove him from
Yep.
like being active already. Although there's still like 24 senators, the one who is like running from the law is not really like an active because you can control him to like to go to the Senate, and the other
Right.
one who has been detained already cannot be counted also. So which means that the majority is already is just can be 12. So
Yeah.
what happened is that they kind of since that the other one from the previous majority went to work on the third day, so there are already like 12 people in the Senate. So they kind of oust the that Senate president, and they change again all like the heads of like the departments of anything. So everything is so mess up right now in the Senate. So the next
Just a bunch of
day,
musical chairs.
every week there's like a change in like the Senate president. So
Oh,
I don't know
man.
what is going to happen on Monday, because after the changes that had happened, the ousted Senate president started like started like a hearing from the for the flood control projects, but then again, it's not legal, kinda they mentioned, because he is already ousted and he doesn't control anything already.
Right. Dang, dude,
It's just
that is crazy. Political theater, really, almost kind of to me.
yeah,
I mean, it seems to be happening in all sorts of places. It's not like I don't think it's just your country, but yeah, it's maybe it's like the level of publicity that it all has now, but I don't think so. I think in modern times we just have some real political theater all over the place. They you'd think that they would work to replace the two incumbent people, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Or non-active. I don't know if I used the word incumbent right there, but yeah, you know what I mean? They would replace those two people through a new system-wide vote of those areas or something. But probably a cost concern comes up, you know what I mean? Or maybe they're like, I don't wanna say undersecretary for their position, but you know what I mean, like how presidents have VPs or something. They could have a stand-in or something maybe. But that, causes its own problems too, probably, you know what I mean? So, it is strange there.
And the thing is that actually most of the supporters are like fighting online. You don't. It's just everything's so chaotic, especially with the things that are happening in the Senate right now. Going to the idea that there will be an impeachment in the coming days for the vice president. So I don't know what is going to happen since like the ousted Senate president still believes that he's still the legitimate Senate president, and they're kind of like doing things, you know, because they still think that they're still the legitimate one. So I don't know what is
Yeah,
going to happen in the coming days, especially next week, because they have the current the current majority right now is going to start an investigation again related to the flood control projects. I
yeah.
don't know.
So, there isn't, like, some kinda judiciary oversight or something like that
Yeah,
for the Senate? You know what I'm saying? So, like, someone who investigates who
yeah,
does or doesn't have power for whatever reasons? Is there,
yeah,
like, some kind of, like, oversight committee government
yeah,
oversight committee who can, like, dictate what is accurate and what isn't for them, or
yeah. But the thing is that actually they the rules about these things are kind of vague. That's why they want most of the people would advise actually to ask the Senate, the Supreme Court regarding this one to
Mhm.
like tell them what really is the right thing to do.
Right.
And also there are
That's kinda what I was
people
getting
act
at, I think.
yeah. But the thing is that the Supreme Court wanted first actually for the Senate to fix the leadership there, because somehow the Supreme Court wanted they have like a separate kind of powers, right? And they're both
Yeah.
equal, kinda.
Mhm.
So at
Yeah.
least somehow the Supreme Court wanted them actually to first fix what could be talked about before like deciding to go to the Supreme Court, because everything actually can be fixed by like talking it out first, kinda. But I don't know
Yeah.
the if that is going to happen really, since that I think most of these senators are just like self-serving. Um, most of these
Politicians
senators
usually are.
actually, most of these senators have some kind of questionable involvement actually with the flood control projects, especially those from the major the majority
The
before.
the previous majority, yeah.
Um, yeah. The senator that was arrested actually, that has been his third arrest. Um, related to corruption. So he has been arrested 2 times before, also related to corruption. So I don't know why
Yeah.
he's still there in the Senate. Why do people still need to vote for him again and again? Kind of doesn't make sense for me. That's
They
that
just probably are,
that's
like, used to seeing his name, and they're like, "Oh, I know that guy already, so I'm gonna vote for
yeah.
him." What is
There
it,
there
they
have
say,
been there have been some pictures on Facebook actually, um, like with his mugshots actually, and this person when he was a child, and then on the second mugshot, and then while he's in a teenager, and on the third one, his current mugshot right now, and him working already, like pictures.
oh my god, dude. What is it they say, that people tend to trust the devil they know or something like that? I can't remember the quote exactly, but yeah, it's basically what it seems like, right? I don't really know the inner workings and, like, all the nuance to it or even the guy's name or anything like that, so but you know what I mean? I can see that if you're, like, arrested 3 times for the same crimes that you're probably not should not be in, one of the highest legal offices in, government, you know? I mean,
But the thing is
it's
that,
just
you
a
know what,
thing.
in his current previous charges, he was acquitted because
Oh,
you when you have that a lot of money, actually you can like get away with your cases. Kind of, you can just pay for like a good lawyer actually to get you out from where you're in during the time. Kind of, that's
kinda, yeah,
and also this is
pretty
like
common.
a problem also with like political fanaticism, even though someone is already like doing corruption in front of you, since you're such a fanatic, you won't find any negative about that politician. Actually, kinda, you will still believe that he is still innocent, even though like he is already like doing corruption in front of you. You know.
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes if you really like someone, you have a certain impression of them or whatever else, right? They could literally steal something out of someone's hand right in front of you, and then you'd be like, "Oh, they
Mhm.
didn't steal that. That was like borrowing, or that was a loan," or
Yeah,
they come up with these internal dialogues and frame it differently. I think that happens a lot, and especially with politicians and things like that, or
mhm.
even just celebrities of some kinds. People don't wanna believe someone they, like, idolize or like or something like that is necessarily bad. It happens in, familiar relationships too, like in the family. It's like if someone tells you your, like, son or daughter or mother or father is, like, this terrible person for these reasons,
Mhm.
you probably don't wanna believe that, and you'll come up with
Yeah,
excuses, and it's just, like, human behavior, I think, basic human behavior. It's unfortunate. It makes, uh it makes governance of the world very difficult at times. So
that's
that
true.
brings us back to education, right? You know what I mean? Where if people were properly educated and were able to think critically and things like that, it would it would really help to stamp out these problems. And like you said, that is probably a big reason why certain politicians would rather they not be able to think critically and just be suited to remedial tasks that honestly at this point in the future we're in a point in the future where most things can be done by robots, even if it is like an exorbitant cost to implement those systems, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The good thing about my work is that it will be harder actually for me to be replaced by robots. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what
No.
I'm happy about with my work actually.
Oh, no, I was mostly, like, just thinking, a lot of service jobs and stuff like that, and I'm not saying, like, all construction, but, or, like, factory jobs and stuff mostly can
Yeah.
be done by robots. Honestly, like, if we wanted to, like, That's more what I'm saying. I'm not saying that those jobs aren't necessary right now, and that it's not like bad that you are a worker there or anything like that. I get it.
Mm,
It's more that like if we're being realistic here, if then the cost were like acceptable to do, it would be done and could easily be done. You know what I'm saying? We've had like robots that can cook food since like the 1950s. Yeah, some saying.
especially in the US, you have like checkout counters. You know,
Mhm.
it's like removing jobs from people.
Yeah,
Speaking of
no,
jobs, actually, do you have a job?
yeah, no, I have a job I hate. Remember we were talking about it?
Yeah. Did you
Training to be
continue
like
doing it?
manager or something right now. What?
Did you continue doing it?
Oh, I'm still doing it right now. I keep trying to get a different job because I don't like it and I don't pay enough money.
How much do you
Uh,
get for that one?
not enough. Not enough, that's for sure. It's not enough money. It seems like
How
more
much
money.
do you
Like
need?
if I like explain it to people, it seems like more money than it
Mm,
actually is. There's this like the thing about economic statistics is they're so nuanced and vague. I would like to have a much higher purchasing power parity is my problem.
mm,
Um, I feel like $100,000 a year is like what I my like that would be like what I minimally would feel comfortable at in America.
mm.
It doesn't exactly cost that much, but that's like, the amount of money you realistically have or you need to have a domicile that's nice. Like not nice nice, but like an equitable level of quality. You got like a 400 square meter with some privacy, and then you can put money towards savings and things like that.
I see.
In America, you have to have a car, and that's like comes with it all it's just the things in America, all the things in America have like lots of added costs to them. So that's like where what it is. You're paying for the added cost of like either your area or just like what America requires to survive. So
Is this your
yeah,
own car you're using?
yeah, yeah. It's
Ah,
an older car. Yeah. I always have a car. You have to have a car in America. You cannot
I
not
see.
have a car in America.
Do,
There
do,
are lots of people who don't, but
do you know how to do public transportation there? Just in case, you know.
yeah, there's not really lots of public transportation in America, especially like if you're not directly in a city. I
Yeah.
definitely know how to use public transportation. I've used public transportation in lots of places in the world. Uh, I've taken like the trains on the East Coast before, and then I've taken trains in all over the world, kind of, and all over the world. So I know how to use public transportation,
And yeah,
and I would
anyway,
if it were more
um
accessible.
I think in your like area most of the houses there are sporadic, right? They're like so far away from each other. How do you get
Yeah,
out
exactly.
from your house going to like the main town or something if you don't have a car? Do you
You
walk
can't. You
or like
can't.
is uh,
It would take you over 2 hours to get to the nearest
I see.
place a lot of the time. Just walking. And that's like
I
one of
see.
the closer places. That's like if you wanna go
I
to a small town,
mm,
you'd walk 2 hours roughly, and then
mm,
driving to the nearest small town with, like, a convenience store, or not like a convenience store, but like a what you would classify as a grocery store,
I
that's
see.
like a 20 minutes by car going like, what is it, 60 miles an hour, so, like, 80 or 90 kilometers an
I
hour,
see.
I think. You drive 20 minutes going that speed. So it's one of those things, you know what I mean?
So
So it's like
like
a
for example if your like car broke down from your
Hitchhike or get a ride from someone? Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that
Does that
before.
happen? You have done that?
Yeah, no,
Do
you can get
people
rides
like
from people.
let you ride with them? Kinda.
Kinda, yeah. A lot of the time, people will not be going that way and stuff like that most
Mm,
of the time, so you'd have to, like, give them money. You have to pay for
I
the
see.
gas, essentially,
I see.
which is, again, another exorbitant cost here in America. So you'd be paying someone, like, $20 to go to, like, an area, which is you don't make that an hour, so it's like, usually,
I
most
see.
people don't. It's getting more like that, but yeah. No, it's
I
exorbitant
see.
here, and the costs are exorbitant. Ridiculous.
It's just
But cars are necessary. They're definitely necessary.
oh
You
yeah.
have to have a car. Again, lots of
Have
people
you
don't have cars that live in the city, but, like, I don't know how the fuck they do it. They probably use Uber and pay $50 to go to their
I
grocery
see.
store. I don't use Uber and stuff like that. I will
Have
not.
you tried riding like a train before there from Michigan
Yeah,
to
I've ridden lots
somewhere
of trains in
else?
America. Yeah, I've ridden trains in America. I've been on, like I said, like I said, on the East Coast, I've is mostly where I've taken trains because it's where the majority of them are at.
Mm,
Uh, I've been, these school a lot of schools go to, like, our nation's capital when we're in, like, 6th grade. So I've ridden the
mm,
metro there. They have, like, a
I see.
small metro there. Detroit has, like, an above ground rail. I've been on that. Uh, there are buses in some places, and I've ridden on buses. I've taken trains from New Jersey to New York and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
It
So
is like the subways in New York really that dirty and scary also. I'm just wondering.
I
That's
haven't
how
really been
they
on
like
the actual I haven't been
mm,
on the actual subway in New York City, but that was mostly because I was broke at the time and I didn't know how much it was gonna cost and stuff like that. I didn't want it to be like them charge me $5 for a one-way ride. I don't really know the costs and stuff. I could
I
easily
see.
do it. 'Cause I took, again, I took trains in, like, Turkey. I've taken trains. I was taking trains from, God, where was I at? On the other side of the Bosphorus, I think is what it is. So, on the Asian side, and I took, that to, like, Czechmezi or something like that. I'm saying that name wrong. But, yeah, you know what I mean? It goes across the river, so it goes underground
Mm,
across the river, a couple stops. London, I was taking the train to. That one, I was taking the actual metro around.
mm,
Um, and then I do what is it, like, they have, I don't know what you call them, like, cable cars kind of, like, they're trains, but
yeah,
they have, like, they're on the streets and stuff. In Romania, I
yeah,
took those. Yeah, so and then, I took the metro in Japan, and I took the metro
yeah.
in the Philippines. I mean, I know how to use the metro, yeah, I know how to use trains and buses and stuff if I have to. I just you know what I mean? It's not super complicated. You can read a map, you can take a train. I don't know why people
That's
think
true
that
also.
it's like a magical skill or something, actually.
I mean, when I first went here, actually, I'm kind of like, if we go to the train station because it will be my first time to use it, and I don't want to look stupid. That's why.
Oh, that's fair, you know what I mean? Like, I think everyone has that a little bit, but, like, I just look at the map, you know what I mean? I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I get on color this or color that or line this, line that, and then I write it this many number, and then I get off. I'll be honest,
And
buses though, I don't like buses in, like, London and stuff. That screwed with me. 'Cause they have, like, this button you can press, and you'll just stop anywhere, kind of, sort of, it seems like. So that throws me off, that messes with me a little bit. So I was screwing up on the buses in London a little bit, just because,
and
yeah, that shit.
and also when I went. when I first went here. Actually, I was kind of scared to go around Metro Manila because the routes of the jeepneys here are like so different compared to those in the provinces where like there are not a lot of like streets, compared
Yeah,
to like big cities like Manila, which is like so kind of confusing, you know. That's
yeah,
fine. But it's a good thing actually that I went here. I was able to like get out of my shell and then understand how it works here, Although I really hate like how the pollution is here, how dirty everything, kind of, at least.
yeah. See, Japan's maps are not the best. I didn't really use maps the whole time I was there. I do this thing when I go to a new place, like like wherever I'm staying at, I'll just go outside and I'll just kind of get lost within like a 5 kilometers area. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I'll like walk around and I'll create landmarks, and you get what I'm saying? Kind of like you
yeah.
kind of get a feel
I
for the area. So if you get
I
lost,
did
if you get back in that area, you just can find your way.
I I used to do that when I was working outside, in the other provinces actually. But
Yeah.
when I went here, I was kind of on the fence doing it because there are a lot of like robbers here and stuff. You can just really like trust anyone here in Manila, kind of compared to like you know it's the characters of the people in the provinces are like better compared to the characters here in Manila. Yeah,
Right. They're more wholesome, less what is it, corrupted by the city or whatever. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
they're more
That
honest.
makes
The
sense.
people there are honest. So that's why. Anyway, you will just like get used to it, you know, as time goes by. But it's just better to be vigilant, especially
Oh
here.
yeah. Oh, I get you. I noticed some grifters that you're here and there. I get it. Like there's like definitely I got like someone did the deaf or blind school thing, or not the blind school thing, the deaf school to me. They were
Yeah.
doing sign language, and I'm like, that's not even sign language. You know what I mean?
Do you know how to do sign language?
Oh, I know a little bit. I had deaf kids in my school, so like you
I
learn
see.
some sign language. You know what I'm saying? Like they, I like would interact with. I'd interact with deaf, and I interact with people. You know what I'm saying? I interact with most people. You pick things up from them. So
Mm,
plus, like you watch enough of it on TV. Like there was like this video on the internet for a while where the lady was singing was like Fetty Wap or like
mm.
WAP or something like the WAP song, and then the lady over there was just signing up this rap song and stuff the whole time. It was ridiculous. The song is called WAP, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, it
Yeah.
was super fun. So you pick some of it up, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Do you know the meaning of that? What?
Yeah, 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 I definitely do. Yeah.
I'm just wondering also, when you're like in primary school, do you have a lot of like black classmates since you're in Michigan? I always thought that there are a lot of black people in Michigan.
There is a significant population, but most of them are more located towards cities and stuff like that.
In
That
Detroit,
it doesn't mean they're not just Detroit, like Detroit, Lansing.
I,
It's like
I I'm just
yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
I know
No, I
I'm just
completely
saying.
understand.
Have you did you remember outsource the colors from Detroit, and the Indian guy told him actually, here in Detroit, city of mopeds and black people.
Yeah, I do remember that. It's
I'm just
partially true.
saying.
Partially true. In every city though that they create pockets, like Dearborn, like I was talking
Mm,
about earlier, uh,
mm,
that's like a very large percentage of it is like a Muslim population, or
I
that's
see.
where the largest percentage of Muslim population is. So that's the thing. I feel like ethnicities do flock to cities in general because you get like areas like in the far-flung area far-flung portions where they're, like there's potential that people aren't as tolerant, and, like, if you stand out, you might get treated differently, right? But that doesn't mean they don't
Yeah.
exist, you know? So,
I'm just
there's, like, a
wondering also, have you been to those areas where most of the communities are like Muslims and stuff?
yeah, I'll cohabitate around and stuff, dude, I don't care.
Do you have like a prejudice in going to the stuff? Do you became more vigilant because, like, for example, this is like a community of Muslims? Do you have that kind of like, you know,
I I would say
perception
not
to those kinds of communities?
I would say not really, you saw it, like, you know how I was in Tondo, I was kinda, like,
Mm,
carefree and stuff, right? Yeah. Does that make
yeah,
sense? So I don't
yeah,
really I mean, it depends on what you define as vigilant and for what reasons. Like, I was probably more vigilant in Tondo, yeah, but it wasn't because, like, I thought anyone individually was necessarily bad, it was just that I know that it was, like, historically a worse area, right? So,
mm,
when you're in, like it's just like you were saying in Manila, you know what I mean? There's, like, a difference between being in the Manila, the city,
yeah,
versus being in the provinces, right?
yeah,
So, you are more cautious, perhaps a little bit, but it's not, like, because of, say, religion or race or anything like that, it's mostly just because you are cognizant that people behave a certain way in certain areas, right? You know what I mean? So, honestly,
yeah,
in Dearborn, it's pretty wealthy, so it's like,
uh,
for the most part, like, in the Muslim communities especially, so I would feel less cautious probably, if anything, than more cautious. Does that make sense?
you know, yeah. You know what I hate about my job most of the time? Um, when I do background check office, especially when area is around Muslim area, maybe areas where there are squatters and things like that. I am the one being picked actually to go in those kinds of areas, and I hate it because I'm scared also. Kind of. We have this. I have this client who's been in like maybe low cost area where they're like where it is famous actually for their drug lords and things like that. And I am the one who went there. You know, the whole time I was like going around the area. It's so scary.
You
The
should ask for
alleys.
hazard
I need.
pay, dude. Be like, "Dude, there's a risk of me getting seriously hurt, I need to get paid more." That's what you do. That's
And
what
the
you do,
thing is
man.
that actually people will like look at you because I'm wearing like an office uniform, and they know that you're not from there.
Oh,
It's just
they know. They know for sure,
yeah.
dude. I
I once went to
I feel like in certain areas, they also know because you're not from there and you look kind of official that maybe it's not best to necessarily cause problems in case, right? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
They might come
yeah,
investigate you, like, a little bit,
yeah,
like, because you're an investigator, they might come and you got maybe have a clipboard or something like that, they come up to you and be
yeah.
like, "So what are you doing here?" They might do something like that, but that's about like, I feel like it feels like you're at risk, but you're probably at less risk because you're not like a like, touristy looking, you know what I mean? Does
But
that
the
make
thing is
sense?
that when you're like wearing like a barong uniform, they will think of you as someone from the government. So you might be like doing some investigations with the drug addicts there also. So they will be more vigilant about you because you might be like getting some information there, kinda. You might
No,
get
that's what I'm saying.
like killed.
That's what I'm saying. They probably are more vigilant of you. That's what I'm saying. I
Mm,
don't think that necessarily puts you at heightened risk necessarily though. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
yeah.
I don't know. I get super I'm not like easily spooked and stuff, I guess. So for me it's like different. I have a different perspective
And
because I'm
especially actually when there are like
carefree.
people who are like trying to hide from the law, they will be more
Yeah.
and also like we have this like prejudice with Muslims also. What's that?
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
get you. I thought there was a little bit. Is it because of the Catholic religion and stuff, or or is it more because of God damn it, the autonomous zone?
yeah, they have like their own kind of thing. Also, that's why sometimes when we have Muslims, actually, we became more like strict with getting information because these Muslims don't really know how to pay. So we would be like more careful in like getting information also, and we really need to like dig more with these kinds of like people. And also when it comes to like collecting money, they are like more hostile, kinda.
Oh, well, yeah. I feel like everyone's a little bit hostile with the money thing, but
But when it
certain
comes
people
to
are more.
Muslims, they have like their specific character actually, who are more hostile, kinda. At least
Gotcha.
that's their prejudice, you know.
Yeah, I get you. That's understandable. Stereotypes are not like stereotypes are kind of bad, but they do come from some level of truth sometimes. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
yeah.
I I don't want to like say any right now because like I don't want to get a like someone to freak out and everything else like that. But it's
Mm,
usually grounded in like specific teachings through history that they're like
yeah, that's true. I was
cultural
supposed
things
actually
or
to
whatever.
say history, you know.
Yeah.
And somehow it has happened a few many times that it has been like the idea that has been ingrained to some people, kinda, I
Right,
think.
exactly. Both that and then like the reason that those people behave that way is like a cultural thing that is also through history, right? So it's like
Yeah.
they have the history of having being responded to in that way, and then also those people have a history of why they are like that in the first place, and it's just like
Do,
it's like
do
combating
you
ideas.
know do you know the reason why there are Muslims in Mindanao?
I'm
why
not positive.
why there are still specific why the Philippines is not 100% Roman Catholic when we have been colonized by the Spaniards for 330 years. Why there are still Muslims? Because during that time when they're trying to colonize Mindanao, the Muslims are killing them. So they
Yeah,
decided not to infiltrate the Mindanao already because they usually like can't infiltrate because how they they characterize Muslims are barbaric, and
yeah.
maybe that's the reason why most of like people here are afraid of Muslims because how like barbaric they
Long
are,
long
kind of.
history of
But
historical
yeah,
perception. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I know like a little bit about it because even when the Spanish American War happened, it was like they did not mess with that area for similar
yeah,
reasons, I
that's true
think.
also.
Yeah. So yeah, and I can see you know what it's there's a reason it's an autonomous zone, right? You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
best to
that's true.
let it do its thing as best you can, and yeah, mediate
E-
mediate. You got to
e-
mediate.
Even until now, like the what do you call those Muslims who are like so there's
Is
like
it Sunni or
specific,
Shia?
not really like that, like the extreme Muslims, you know.
Are you talking about like a terrorist organization
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah. Things like that.
oh
Like
ISIS? Is it ISIS or
yeah,
ISIL?
there's like a specific term for those Muslim extremists. Yeah,
Yeah, extremist.
uh,
Extremist.
yeah.
Sorry, my bad. I was just like,
Um, I think we still have Muslim extremists in like Mindanao, and they can't even like end those groups. You know.
yeah, it's difficult too, because like there'll be like cloistered communities and there'll be like what is it? they'll be spread out too. They'll be cloistered, spread out communities, and
Yeah.
then they'll like and kind of indoctrinate their area,
Mm,
right? So it's like I think that's the big reason why like in like Iraq and Afghanistan there were so many issues and stuff.
mm,
It it's hard to create like trust with those communities when you're like an outside entity,
yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying? So like even for like the
Mm,
Philippines government, who is like they're they might both consider themselves Filipinos in ways because they're like the outside group versus the inside group.
mm,
They trust and like protect those more extremist groups. You know what I'm saying? I think that
yeah.
happened in like Vietnam a lot too. You know what I mean? Like particular communities would defend like the Viet, like not even defend the Viet Minh necessarily, but just kind of like keep that to themselves
Yeah.
against like the American forces or otherwise, right? I think that this is very common, honestly. So
What what were taught to you in school about Vietnam War? Are you like the hero?
I mean,
You're
it's
trying to
like a
save
mixed
Vietnam?
bag, dude. It's a mixed bag. It depends on like which depends on what you mean by school. Like that's not like a lot of big subject, you know what I mean?
Oh,
I
really?
don't think yeah, really not. Not in like elementary school or like high school. It's like talked
Or
about.
they're just trying to like remove the idea of Vietnam War because you lose there? Just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's seen as kind of like it was seen as I would have to say like kind of a mistake. Like the way it's presented is it's like we had the best of intentions, right? You know, we always have the
Oh,
best of
really?
intentions, but that it was kind of a mistake and that's about what where it ends at. I think that's what it was. You know what I mean? Basically, like that we tried to give them freedom and they didn't want it. Uh, there was an outside force impeding on freedom, and we did try as we might. We cannot convince the majority that freedom was in their best interest. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the narrative, I think, right? So,
It's
which
always the freedom.
yeah, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta grasp at something. You get, like, but again, we go back to this whole education of the masses. You know what I mean? Like the less, like the lower education tier of the masses. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's what happens. You know, you just like in your school, I'm sure, like not in your school in particular, but like in your guys' public school, they probably do like a lot of nationalism and stuff. How the
yeah.
nation's, you know, the best and or whatever else, you know, you sing your probably your national anthem or something like that,
Mm,
right? Would you guys have like a pledge to your flag or anything like that?
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that so you kind of you when you're in like a lower education, like the lower education, I don't know, like elementary, high school, primary school, whatever you want to call it. That's kind of like those are the narratives you're given. You know what I mean? And if you want to have a better education where you can think critically, you go to things like college and things, and then you learn a broader narrative where you learn about individual happenings of certain events and everything else like that in more detail. They just don't worry about the detail. They just broad stroke it and stuff.
how about World War II? What did they like teach you there? I think it's hard for you since that uh, you have covered you have covered Germany, Italy, and Japan during World War II, because in our history classes most of the time it will be like about the Japanese.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
because
I think that's like a big problem with that's like we were talking. I think that's why stuff kind of gets like lightly stroked. That's why the Vietnam War isn't talked about a bunch because it is kind of like it was. We you know what I mean. We really didn't win, and then also before that, you know, like the French were there and stuff causing
yeah,
problems and everything else like that. And there's like a lot with colonialism and everything else. So we just kind of like brush over it as like a limited subject. And then the same thing with the World War I and World War II get like lots of talk because that is like I won't call them like triumphs of America, but they were like pivotal points in American history that helped to propel America into like the forefront of the
Yeah,
world.
that's true.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that gets like a lot of
Special
focus.
World War II, where you became number one, actually.
Yeah.
Before the start of World War II, actually, you were just around number 16, kind of, when it comes to like being powerful. But after that, you became number one, and everything wanted to be like a friend of the US, kind of.
And that's that. I think that's why we focus on stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
it's what we would call pivotal national history, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That I'm sure that's why you guys focus a lot on like more on Japan during World War II. I'm sure you
Hmm.
guys focus a lot on like the American Spanish Civil War just because that was a huge effect, and then the
Hmm.
original conquest or whatever. I don't really know what all do what wars are you guys more fo- what do you guys focus in on in history? Like Rizal, I'm
We
sure.
There's no really all of the wars during the Spanish times. There's no specific like big thing being discussed when it comes to wars during the Spanish times. It's just like story about rebellion of like the specific hero, things like that. But um, mm, I don't remember anything actually. It's just like this is like the name of the hero and what he did during like the Spanish occupations and colonization, like Rizal. He did this, things like that. But when it comes to like World War II, I know every detail of what happened, kinda. Like very specific dates actually during World War II. When was Pearl Harbor bombed? When was the Manila? When was
Manila Bay.
Manila bombed during like the attack of the Japanese? Yeah, when was Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed? Things like that. Um, yeah, I could still remember those because like yeah, uh,
Was
what do
it
you call
Camp
this one?
Thompson or something like that?
What do you mean?
Was it Camp
What?
Thompson or something? It's like right after Pearl Harbor, like in Manila or close to Manila in the Philippines. It was another place that was also bombed. I want to say it's like I want to say it's Thompson, but it might not be Thompson. It's oh man, dude, it doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter. But
Mhm.
I feel like that would be like something that would be like taught in your guys' history books and stuff
Yeah.
more.
December 7th, they bombed the Pearl Harbor. Then December 8th, they bombed Manila, and
Yeah.
they started actually from Manila and then start bombing from the north again, going to the south, kinda. And then around January, they declared Manila as open city. So during the time we were colonized by the Americans, so most of the Americans were here in like the Philippines, around the Philippines. I think it was in Baguio where they bombed also, kinda. And
Okay. Yeah. No, I think I know about that one too. I'm trying to like think of the fucking camp, dude. I was like really focusing on it the other day.
are you sure it's a
I'm
camp? It's not like a
it was
different
like a
name.
US it was like a US military base that was bombed
Yeah, we have like
there.
a military base here called Corregidor. It's already abandoned now, but most of the like American like you know anything
God,
related to
I've
war.
it just like stuff like that eats at me because I'll like be like I know this and then I fucking can't remember what it is.
There's
It's
like
a
a camp here in Baguio called Camp John Hay, where most of the Americans also are there. You mentioned last time that in Baguio there were like white people who are in the tribes because some Americans would like go to those tribes and rape them. That's why they're like white people in like ethnic tribes in Baguio.
That's not good. That's not good. Do not do not approve. I don't approve of all that. Yeah.
The, there are like a lot of like abandoned. We call them American because like their fathers are like American and their mothers are Asian, so we call them American. Most of them will be around in Subic because there's like a naval base there. Like for a bit,
Yeah.
it's like the story of Miss Saigon, when like Americans went to Vietnam and then had sex with some locals there also. Maybe someone became pregnant and then when the war ended, actually they just left everything.
Bye. Yeah. No, I get you. It was Clark Field that I was thinking of.
Clark.
It was Clark Field. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why I couldn't remember it. But you know what,
Clark
that
is
does
also
happen a lot.
Clark
It's
is
weird.
also near Subic. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where the naval base is. So most of the Americans are also there. That's why there are a lot
Gotcha.
of like white people there also. Lots of bars also. That's why there were a lot of like abandoned American there because like after I mean the Americans out from the base, then they would be leaving a lot of children there fatherless. Kinda.
Yeah, I think that's pretty like you're saying, like, it happened in Saigon and stuff, that does happen quite often, I think that I think it's, like, just, like, a thing about war in general, though, throughout history, like, you know what I mean? When people go to have war somewhere, they often sleep with local women, and then, like, the war ends and they leave or occupy the area, it just depends,
Yeah,
like, in previous history, it was more like occupying the area. It's less now, I think, but yeah, yeah, less now. Unless you count like Ukraine and things like that, and they're kind of occupying the area. They're trying to take that area though. That's different, I guess. Like I don't know. It's just like unsavory. War is just unsavory in general, and it has all these like terrible additive facts. Yeah, and then you get like you're saying, the Americans are like externalities of like conflicts that are not easily addressable, right?
yeah.
So yeah.
But
I don't know what to think about it.
the the only positive thing about Americans is like they're good looking. Most of them, all of them. There's like something about a mix of Filipino and like a foreign blood that makes someone so good looking, at least.
I I think you're right. I think that I don't wanna be like that. Most mixed people are
Mm.
usually pretty good looking. I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like, I don't think it really matters a bunch. You I don't know what to say. Don't know.
we have a lot of celebrities here who are like mix, and when you see their father and their parents, actually they're like ugly.
Yeah. You're like, "Wow, dude. Whoa." Yeah. I get you.
Sometimes most of their mothers are like Filipinos, and when the celebrities are with their mother most of the time, people would be would be thinking that their mothers are like their helpers. They won't even like think that these are like their parents because they're ugly.
I I know what you're saying because I know some, Filipino, like, celebrities on the internet, and, they do show their parents sometimes. I would not have guessed sometimes either that they were Filipino or believe that those are their parents. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I don't want to be that guy, but Like, you can sometimes you can kinda tell that they're, like, you know what I mean? They'll look like they'll have the Asian aesthetics and stuff,
Yeah.
but you can tell they're mixed, so it's, like, really hard to peg down and stuff. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I hope
I just look like a
this clip
bland person.
doesn't end up in the highlights. We'll get a lot of back. God,
Oh my god, knowing my luck, it
but
totally would be.
that's the reality.
Genetics are weird.
What can we?
I don't think we're saying anything bad. I think we're just
Yeah,
trying to state that genetics are weird like that. I said mixed people are all beautiful, and I totally agree with that. I do 100% believe that. So, I mean, if I get canceled for saying mixed people are usually more attractive, I don't even care. Don't even care. Whatever.
what's your race, by the way, Dorian? You mentioned you're from you some
I'm all over, dude.
from Romania. You mentioned,
Dude, I have like all sorts of family members from all over the place, dude. Like, honestly, so
but
it's like
Roberts is
I'm a
not
pretty mixed guy.
so Eastern European.
There's like Eastern, like most Americans are Central or Eastern European of
But
those descent areas.
where
You know what
did
I mean? So,
Roberts came from? The
oh,
UK.
that's those ones are probably like Swiss or German
Oh, really?
originally, something like that, probably. Most of my family's been here for forever,
Mm,
and as a result, it depends on where those like because I got my Irish too. I'm significantly Irish. A
mm,
lot of people think that genetics fall like percentiles and stuff, but because like oh, say if your grandparents this, you're 25%. That's not how genetics work. Um,
mm.
but I'm lots of things. Yeah, lots of things. I'm a
Pervert
mutt.
also. Sorry.
Yeah, and a pervert. Yeah, that too. Just a little bit though, just a little bit. Um, I'm like I say I'm Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? And which it depends on how you quantify that. Like, are you Hispanic or African American because you live in these households for significant
Yeah.
periods of time, or and grow up with them as family, or not? That becomes a question. You know what I'm saying? To me, anyway. So yeah, it's like I know what a cascarones is and stuff like that, and a bunch of other stuff that is very, very Mexican. Uh,
Mm,
because I grew up with some of them
mm,
as family. So does that mean that all of a sudden I am not Mexican because that they might not be like uh, in the same bloodline, whatever
yeah.
connection? To me, it doesn't mean anything. So
And yeah,
what am I culturally? What am I experientially? That's really it just
yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like for example, you know, you know, Apple, the app from Black Eyed Peas, the one with the mohawk, the black with the mohawk, the other black guy.
I don't know the Black Eyed Peas super well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I can't think of I'm trying to
Will,
think of them.
Will I am.
I don't know by name.
Will.
Will I am?
Yeah,
Will I what I know the
Will.
name, but you
I
were
mean,
saying go ahead anyway. You can tell me anyway.
he's like he's like the other black guy. There are like two black guys in Black Eyed Peas, Will I Am, and then the other black guy that's Apple. He's Filipino actually. Um,
Oh, okay.
he's he's from Pampanga, where like the naval base is. He's an American, I think. So when he was growing up, someone from America adopted him. That's why he went to like the U.S., but still he can speak Tagalog and things like that.
Okay.
So, so like going back to what we're talking about, like do you call him still a Filipino or like an American already, since that is kind of immersed already to the culture of the Americans, but
Yeah, exactly.
still he hasn't left his roots. He still go back here to the Philippines, still knows how to speak Tagalog and things like that. He, I think he can still speak their local language in Pampanga also. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It becomes a question, doesn't it? It really becomes one of those
Mm,
questions of, you know, if people if American was a race, I would just say I'm American. You know what I'm saying? That's
mm,
one of the things about America that I do appreciate a lot. That the founding principle that we're all like kind of a, the melting pot of America. You know what I mean?
mm,
We're all one people. It doesn't matter where you came from, or it's not supposed to matter where you came from, or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? That's where the big part of like one of those things that I appreciate about my country, that is supposed to be an ideal that
mm,
we hold sacred. So for me, it's like, you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter of my lineage and like what specific things that I've learned from different family members for whatever reason, and what cultural experiences I've had because of that. You know what I'm saying? At all, because I'm fucking
mm.
American. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I always put two or more races on all my shit, just because like I do have enough family from all over the place. You know what I mean? Like I have family members that live in fucking Canada even, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
that are married to Canadians and all sorts of other stuff. So it's like, where am I from specifically? It doesn't really matter to me. Like I'm
What
a
happened to your
citizen of the
hand?
United States. What?
Why your hand has something red in it? What happened to that one?
Oh, this one. Oh, that's from
Oh
work.
yeah,
How about that? Yeah. Yeah, I get injured at work a lot. I'm not
from
super careful.
from frying things. Are you frying things there? Just,
Oh, just burning it. Yeah, I burned it. Yep.
do you have work today? Where are
Sometime
you now?
later, I'm in my car, out and about.
Mm,
I go to this festival. I gotta go shower here soon. But
you
yeah,
haven't showered yet?
not today. Not today. No. I knew I'd be sitting in my car and sweating my ass off, so I decided to wait. Yeah.
When what time did you last you know
Oh, bathe myself? I bathe myself
yeah.
regularly, bro. Like, because I don't have electricity, don't mean I don't like run around and figure stuff out.
What time does your work ends, by the way?
Oh, what do you mean? Oh, it just depends. Depends. I work on different shifts,
I see.
alternating shifts and stuff like that. You work what, 9 to 5 usually, unless you're like out and about in
Mm,
the the
I
in business and stuff, investigating.
I work from 8 to 5,
8 to 5. Okay, not 9 to 5.
but I'm always late, at least an hour. So I would like go to the office around 9. I hope no one like watches this one. I go to work around 9. Usually my work ends at 5, but I would do overtime for like 4 hours to compensate for my late. I just
What
like
time? What do you got to do? Like, they have you work like over a lot though, don't they? Like they usually like will be like when you're out and about and stuff, you'll be like
they don't
out really
force
late.
me actually to do overtime. I just like do it because I have some things to do, but I'm not really forced to do it, you know.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
sometimes when I have really nothing to do, I would just go home around 5. But when I had like a lot of like paperwork, so I would like get out around 8 p.m. kind of. Do you do
Gotcha.
overtimes?
I mean, I used to do it a lot more. Yeah, I mean, if there's overtime available, I'll work it if I be getting paid a fair wage. Or usually it's like, you know what I mean. I try to only work overtime at a place that I'm already getting paid a lot
Okay.
of money. You know what I mean? Because if I get
Do,
paid a lot of money at one place,
do you still have the
it cut out. Oh, we'll cut this for here today. Uh, it's been like 2 hours anyway. It's been a long one.
yeah?
I gotta go bathe myself. I'm gross right now, so
Yeah.
take it easy, brother.
Where are you planning to like take a bath?
Oh, I know some people. I know lots of people, bro. I just run around
Okay.
town and meet some people and be like, hey, dude. Yep. All right.
Anyway,
Take it easy.
thank you. Take care.
Yep, bye.